little gang of people. My little group of beasts. I don't know why I'm calling you that today, but I am. Hello, all. My god, I am tired. 3 days a row of streaming. That was a wild choice on my part, and I will do it again. The issue is that most people are free in the weekend, and so I have to cram it all in the weekend, and it's a struggle. But hi all, it's Salome's Kiss. We're back. Ignore the Stream Elements going live notification, it's lying to you. I definitely didn't forget to set it before going live. I'm a pro, don't you know? But yes, welcome in. This may be the last day of Salome's Kiss. It may be. Hi Dodo, long time no see, yeah. How you been? How you been doing? I know my schedule's been like all over the place, girly. I apologize for that. I can't keep a... One day I'll have a consistent schedule. One day. But how are you? I hope you're doing well. I have the energy drink to make it through the day. I'm really hoping this is the finale of Salome's Kiss. Not because I'm not enjoying myself, but because I really think we're getting there. I really think this is where we're at. You know? I'm very excited. Man, you're gonna get really confused if you haven't been catching up on VODs and stuff, but hey, that's not my problem. Work and studying? Time zone difference? Yeah, I'm sorry, but I hope you've been doing well. I have an amazing way that you can catch up, though. It's this cool thing called my VODs channel if you want to catch up on the goodies. Shill mission. Priscilla, don't shill Mission Impossible. I'm really sorry that you've been like so busy. I hope you haven't been like exhausted or anything. Like I hope you've been keeping yourself healthy and safe. I'm pretty good. I've been oh, I need to put something in the chat. I need to put my little reminder in the chat about the fun thing that's coming up. Oh, you haven't been here, so you won't know, but I'm planning to do a subathon for a week in June. We pin it again. We pin it every time stream starts. I have to post it and pin it. But yes, I've been pretty okay, honestly. I've been tired, but what else is new? You know? That's just the Priscilla default. I've been working on shit. I've got like a personal project that I'm brewing that I might do some co-working streams on to get keep to like a streaming schedule and work on it, you know? It would be like a combo deal. It's a silly little fun project. It's very jokey, but it's gonna star my friends, so I'm very excited to do it. But I've been doing pretty good. I had like 3 streams this weekend. Like I had one on Friday, I had one yesterday, and I have got one today. So it's been kind of chaotic. We got the energy drink though. We're gonna make it through it. We're gonna survive. I've got my little snackies. I've got some little snacky foodie things. I've got a water bottle too, so I've got real water. I think I'll be okay. If we finish the game today, that would be like magical. And oh my god, Dodo, did you know we have a Discord now? Dodo, we have a Discord now. Recently we voted on my next visual novel, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to be recording off stream a game because it needs to be edited because it's a bit saucy. But I've got an editor friend who I'm going to pay to help me with that. And then I'm going to be streaming an Omegaverse Yuri visual novel while that's happening as well. So I'm gonna be cranking out the visual novel content. That's kind of what I want to be known for, honestly. I want to be known for that shit. I want that to be my brand, visual novels. I want that to be what people know me for. Priscilla, that's a visual novel queen. Oh, yeah. Oh, bitch, I get that. Physically, issues keeping up with work, I'm always struggling with that. Hiya, Jaws. Yeah, I've got a Discord. Let me post that in chat for you. There you go. We have a couple of saucy channels, but I try and keep it safe. We do post like video essays that we all enjoy, and like horror art and various like fun things. The art channel is kind of a mix of things at the moment. I need to like tidy up a bit and make like specific categories so people find it easier to find what they're looking for. I'm planning to make like a channel in there just for people to post the video essays they like. So it's because like people, God, I love video essays. I've learnt so much from them. For real, not even a joke. I have learnt so much like cool philosophy and like scientific knowledge and like social knowledge from video essays, and just like interesting, just like a lot to learn, honestly, from various mediums in the world. And it's a big gift. But yes, the Priscilla Discord is live. It's actually kind of functional too. I post a bunch of things in there. At the moment, it's pretty quiet still, so I'd be happy if you made a bit more hopping and crazy in there. You could kind of go off and go wild. But I do need to start the game. We need to start game, guys. What are we doing? I saw Dodo and I got excited. I saw Dodo and I was like, I know that one. Where you been, bitch? Let's jump into the game, though. Oh, God, it's good to see you, Dodo. I'm sorry that things have been like a bit difficult with you, but I'm so happy to see you again. Let me just turn the music back up because it do be interfering with the starting soon screen music in an audible way that makes me quite uncomfortable. So, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the VODs channel. No, I suspect you haven't, but a lot of crazy shit's been going down. I don't know if I can keep, like actually update you on everything. You're quiet observer? That is the norm in Discords, yeah. I don't mind if you just like post things and like vanish into the ether. You don't need to like be an active chatter. If you just find something fun that you think would fit in the Priscilla Discord, you can just throw it in there and then vanish again. That's totally fine with me. I'd be doing that shit. But I don't think I can catch you up on this because it's been like a lot's happened, Dodo. A lot's happened. It's been fucking horrific, honestly. The lesbians have been making out, I will say. Big win on that part. Lesbians have been fucking snogging. They have been making out expeditiously. One of them has been having horny dreams about it. We know that much, our main girl. One of the things I am looking forward to the visual novel ending about is I fucking hate saying our protagonist's name, and I've talked about this before. Letitia? It sucks to say. It sucks to say. I appreciate what they're doing with it, but it sucks to say. It's a lot easier to read, and that's what you're meant to do with visual novels. I'm kind of breaking the formula here. But I'm excited. Let's jump right in. The energy drink's starting to hit. Oh, yeah, we just, it's heavily implied, okay, Dodo, content warning for sexual assault. There's discussion of sexual assault and strong implications of it, like, happening off screen. So just keep yourself safe, guys. It kind of jumped up on us last time in stream. It kind of has been jumping up on us in streams, and I get it is gothic novel, but I apologize for not warning you guys. That's a big bad of my part. I should do better at that. I was so silly. I was in the silly zone of, ooh, it's gonna be so spooky and they're gonna hate it and it's gonna be great. But I don't want you to hate it in a traumatizing way, you know? I want you to hate it in a dramatic fainting on the couch sort of way. But we have just comforted our dear Genevieve. She's our our student. We're her governess. And her father, there have been whisperings of her father sexually assaulting the maids. One of the maids oh, maybe maybe you'll find something new in the Discord to have fun with. Yeah, I hope you do. Dodo. I've posted a few fun things in there. Fun, quotation marks. Fun, Priscilla coded. I always feel like I have to sort of like say, my fun is very different to what people mean when they say fun. There's been heavy implications that our student's father, the lord of the house, has been sexually assaulting the maids. One of the maids was pregnant and was kind of implied to be married off so that she wasn't a problem. So she's vanished from the household. We never really got her side of the story, but like whispers, you know, whispers. Then there's our other maid who's been a friend of ours. She's given us breakfast. She's like the one who would like deliver breakfast to our room every morning. She's an angel. Dinah. She's so cute. She has, she came to us sobbing one day, saying how he had assaulted her, and she was terrified of getting pregnant and ending up like the other maid. Abigail was her name. And so our protagonist has a bit of like history knowledge. She has a bit of medicinal knowledge from her mother for brewing tinctures and potions and things. Real herbology, very real stuff actually. So she went out to the market and bought some herbs to make her a abortion tea, basically, like a preventative contraceptive thing that you have after the act, a tea. So she's brewed that for her a couple of times now, and our dear student Genevieve she wasn't at the schoolhouse all day, and she's usually late to the schoolhouse, you know. She's usually late. She's a bit of a rebel. She's a bit crazy. She's a bit wild. You know, she lives by her own rules, which don't exist. But she usually does show up because she does like teasing us and making out with us. So it was odd. So we asked around, and it turned out her father had like called her to the study. He never does this. So we rush out into the moors to find her, and we find her. And she's basically said, yeah, I never thought he would do that, but he did do that to me now. So we've had a big sob, a very good sob about it all. A very violent cry. Very fair, honestly. And we've been bemoaned the fact that we couldn't save her. And we're just sort of coming down from the crying. It's a very intense story, I will say. Generally how I like it. But I imagine it's not for everyone. And let's dive right back into it now. I think we're ready. I think the recap is good enough. Time passed. Though how much of it slipped by precisely, Letitia could not say. All she knew was the softness of Genevieve's hand still entwined with her own, and the sighing of the wind as it picked at her hair and the hem of her dress. The sun above, which shone weakly, was half obscured by a bower of grey clouds. When Genevieve had finished recounting her tale, with a good many sobs and sighs and false starts, it was completely covered. We don't have it written out for us what happened, but the narrative's going to tell us that she told us what happened, and I think that's a respectful way to do it. I quite like that. We don't need to know the gory details to sympathise with her. It's not required. We don't need to know her trauma ins and outs to be with her, to be there for her. I find that a lot of people, like, you have to, like, they have this requirement. They, like, seem to, like, they want the quote unquote gory details of everything, and I just find that's not helpful. It's not about you, it's about the person suffering. Meet them where they're at. Cold seeped into Letitia's skin. You see how I hate saying it? Yeah, that is one thing I will not be upset about this visual novel ending over. Although I am looking forward to a good gruesome end as well. It penetrated her muscles, her veins, and her bones. Letitia had been crouched by the lake for so long it felt as though her body had been encased in stiff and immovable porcelain. Hey, that's me! It's me! I'm porcelain! Woo! I shouldn't be wooing. She felt sure her skin was just as white, pale and ghostly. Perhaps her limbs should have hurt from maintaining such an awkward pose for so long, but she could not feel a thing. She felt completely numb. Letty? Thank you for giving her a nickname, Jenny. Thank you so fucking much, girl. You're saving me so much. God, we appreciate Genevieve. Do it for every day for giving her a nickname. Genevieve surveyed Letitia's face once she had finished, her seraphic voice constrained by her own anxiety. Letty, you all right? You're so quiet. Oh, all right? Letitia echoed Genevieve in an empty voice void of all emotion. Letitia's heart constricted inside her chest, and then something broke within her. Grief flooded through her, and then despair, and then anger so hot it stung. You ask me if I'm all right, when you've endured so much? I don't understand. I can't. Oh, Mum wanted to tell you all about an English youth catchphrase. That's kind of out of date, honestly. I've never heard it before. Let me make sure I get the meaning right. She wanted to tell you guys about an English a New Zealand catchphrase. Let me make sure I get the meaning right. Well, now I can't find the meaning. I'll have to tell you guys next time. The phrase is cake for Africa, and I think it's something to do with, like, I don't know. God, I do not know. I can't remember what she told me. Mind like a sieve. But it's something to do with, like, offering... No, I shan't say. I'll get it wrong. I'll ask her another time and then I'll relay it to you. It's such a funny phrase. Cake for Africa. What a thing to say. Anyway, God, I'm always like this when I do visual novels. I go off on tangents so easily, and it's not like I'm bored or anything. I just do it. You ask me if I'm all right when you've endured so much. I don't understand. I can't. Letitia let her fingers fall from Genevieve. She rose to stand on shaking legs, her expression set and her eyes cold like stones, buried in the wintry soil. How could he, Jenny? How could he? Letitia rounded on Genevieve now, as though this was her fault, when of course it was not. Nothing could be further from the truth. Genevieve had done nothing wrong. She could be ill-behaved, yes, and obstinate, but she was good and kind at heart, and Arthur had taken advantage of that. He had taken advantage of her, and in his unbridled, uncontrollable lust, he had tried to spoil her. Arthur had abused poor Abigail and Dinah after her, but not even that had been enough to slake his unnatural lust. He had craved even more, his desires more twisted even than Letitia's own. As the master of Hatton and the rule of rule in the immediate vicinity, he had wanted, and with none to stop him, he had seen fit to act upon his wants. He had wanted, Genevieve. Now he had taken her. How can he call himself your father after doing something so awful? It's unthinkable. That man. No, he doesn't deserve to be called a man. He's a monster, a demon. Letitia's fingers clenched into fists. She longed to sink one or both of them into Arthur's face, but not even that would be enough to satiate her anger. Arthur deserved far, far worse for his crimes. He deserved. I can't let him get away with this. Tushy, I don't think he's going to survive this. Don't worry. I don't think he's going to survive, but I don't think it'll be a happy ending anyway. I think there will be problems. As there is with any good Gothic story. There are always problems. It's what you do. It's what makes it Gothic. All of a sudden, Letitia's rage cooled. The bitter, vile hatred which flowed through her breast had not abated. Letitia doubted it ever would. But she could think more clearly now. She knew what it was she had to do. She could see no other option available to her. I was supposed to protect you, Jenny. As your governess, no, as your lover. I want only to keep you safe. I might have failed in that duty, but I will not let this happen again. I swear it upon my own mother's life. Your father will never lay another finger on you, Jenny, not again. I will make sure of that. Letty? Genevieve surveyed Letitia, her lower lip trembling. What are you going to do? Something that needs to be done. Those who sin deserve to be punished. I'm sure God would agree with me. But what if somebody finds out? What if they know what you're planning? I don't want you to get in trouble for my sake. I don't think I could live with the guilt. It's all right. You've nothing to feel guilty about. Letitia smiled once more. This time it was more relaxed. The hatred within her soothed somewhat by Genevieve's sweet words. I know how to be discreet. I will do it carefully so it looks like an accident. Nobody will suspect me. What would my motive be? I will take care of your father swiftly enough. With his passing, nobody will be able to come between us ever again. Then perhaps we truly will be able to be happy together. A plan began to form in Letitia's mind as she spoke, one so dizzyingly simple she almost laughed from it. Letitia had no reservations now about setting her plans into motion. All she had to wonder now was why she had not thought to do this sooner. If only she committed herself to the scheme once she had learned that Arthur called out his daughter's name during coitus. This tragedy could have been averted in its entirety. But no matter. It was too late to regret the past. But Letitia was determined now to set things right. She never wanted to see Genevieve cry, so not again. She loved her far too much for it. I fear she is on a path of fury. A relatable path for myself, I must say. Her talk with Genevieve concluded, Letitia stormed into Hatton Manor with firm, purposeful strides. Now she knew what she ought to do. Nothing could sway her from her chosen path. Not even Dinah's wide eyes or worried exclamations. Letitia? Letitia? Dinah, who had been waiting anxiously for Letitia in the entrance hall, dashed to her side the moment the great doors swung open. Letitia, what's wrong? Did you find the mistress? Did you... But Dinah's slew of questions soon halted when she saw the frightful expression upon Letitia's face. Dinah gasped, all colour draining from her fair face, and took a step back. I see. So you did find her. Yes, I did. Letitia's response to this query was terse, and it made Dinah's brow furrow. Dinah did not know, not yet at least, what it was that Letitia planned to do, but as she followed her through Hatton's halls, she began to grow more certain. Letitia, oh, Letitia. Dinah held her hands at her front, her eyes imploring. What's the matter? Was the mistress unwell? You could say that, I suppose. She has been afflicted by a horrible sickness, but I'm certain I will be able to console her. A sickness? You don't mean... Dinah, grasping the meaning behind those cryptic words as no other could, gave another startled gasp. Her father, the master. He didn't really. One cautionary look from Letitia, however, soon silenced Dinah. She shuddered, still trailing along after Letitia like a kite, wan and faint and paper-thin. I I can't believe it. It seems almost impossible. How could the master do such a thing to his own daughter? Are you certain, Letty? Did this truly happen? What? Here, Letitia paused. She turned, her long skirt whipping about her legs, her eyes blazing with indignant anger. Are you suggesting that Genevieve would lie about this, Diana? Don't you trust her? It isn't that I don't trust her, Letty, it's just what? Letitia's nostrils dilated. So funny. It reminds me of how horses snort when they get angry. I'm sorry. Don't call Genevieve a liar. Don't you dare! If you'd seen the look on her face that I did, if you'd heard her cry like I had, then you wouldn't question it. You would know. Letitia's shoulders trembled. She could feel tears beginning to prickle upon her eyelashes once more, and she had to swallow to keep them at bay. I thought you were different to the other villagers, Dinah. They said things about Genevieve so awful I can't bear to repeat them. I'd hoped that you, of all people, would understand her. Would understand me. Letty, please, it's not that I don't understand, it's just... Dinah stared into Letitia's eyes, her own vast and imploring. I don't want to understand it. It's all too horrible. I know it's horrible, but that doesn't mean we can stand to avert our eyes from the truth. Genevieve has been harmed by her father. That is irrefutable. But that's awful. Awful though it might be, you shouldn't doubt it. You would be doing Genevieve a disservice when she had suffered so. Please don't question Jenny's story. You yourself should know what Arthur is capable of. He isn't human. If you could mistreat a kind girl like you, Dinah, then he's more than capable of harming his daughter. It was only a matter of time, really. Now, that's a bit of a leap. There's a bit of a leap between sexual assault to straight-up incestuous assault. I understand she's in a massive fury, but the logic isn't logicking. But Letty, what are you going to do? I am going to do what must be done. And what does that mean? Letty, please. Dinah took Letitia's trembling hands in her own. You aren't going to hurt the master, are you? Oh, believe me. Letitia drew in a breath which felt harder than it ought to, then straightened her shoulders. I am going to do far, far more than hurt him. No, you can't mean to. You wouldn't. How would you? Should be relatively simple. I'm skilled at brewing tinctures. I can make herbal medicines to alleviate pains. But I can use them to induce pain too, if I desire it. I know which herbs are poisonous and which aren't. If I could find the strength with me to kill your unborn baby, Dinah, then I can certainly kill a grown man. All lives are worth the same before God's eyes. I've committed one sin already. What's one more? I need only increase the dosage of the herbs in my draught. Thank you for the resub, Omni. Hello, hello. What? But... Dinah let her hands fall from Letitia's. She took an awkward, shambling step back, her legs clumsy and wooden like those of a puppet, and gawped. You wouldn't. You couldn't. I can and I will. I've already made up my mind. But Letty, you shouldn't have to take matters into your own hands. This is a job for the police, surely. And what would they believe? Accusations spoken by a young woman like Genevieve and her hysterical governess, or the rebuttals of a well-spoken and smartly dressed man like Arthur Langley. They would think us insane, our tale naught but a fabrication. They would never understand, they would not want to. Well, you might be right about that, but still, you shouldn't have to dirty your own hands if you get in trouble. I won't. I'm cleverer than you give me credit for. Why can't you try to smile, Dinah? I thought you would be happy about this. Arthur hurt you too, didn't he? He did, that is true. He inflicted a great deal of pain upon me. But he helped me too, in a manner of speaking. He gave me a place to work and a roof over my head. I was grateful about that much, at least. He might have helped you, but that doesn't give him the right to do with you as he pleases. You're his employee, not his property. Yes, I suppose you were right. Dinah wound her arms around her middle. She sniffed. All of a sudden, Letitia was reminded of just how young Dinah was. She was not much older than Genevieve, perhaps a year or so her senior. She was barely 20 years of age, if that. Dinah was a simple country girl, despite her neat consonants and cut glass vowels. All this talk of abuse and murder and betrayal must have been new to her. It was little wonder she looked so afraid. Letitia doubted Dinah had ever thought something so horrible would occur when she first began to work at Hatton. But then again, neither had Letitia. She had moved to Hatton in an attempt to flee from her problems. She had seen Hatton as a retreat cut off from the rest of the world, hemmed in on all sides by the desolate, foggy marshes. She had not known at the time that her retreat had housed within it a monster, which masqueraded as a gentleman, but it was much too late for regrets. Letitia had been unable to help Abigail, but she wanted to help Dinah. She wanted to help Genevieve too. As the oldest among the three women, and one of the only ones who knew Arthur's true nature, this was her job. Perhaps, Letitia thought wildly, this was why she'd come to Hatton in the first place. Perhaps God had impelled her to go there with this as her mission. Now things had come to a head. Letitia knew she could not leave. She would not be like the callous Levity who had abandoned the injured traveller on the roadside. I think that's a Bible story. Alas, my religious education is wanting. She would help both Dinah and Genevieve, even if they did not want it. She would help them if it killed her. I need to do this, Dinah. I am going to put a stop to that deplorable man. So your mind is made up? Letitia nodded. Then in that case, do you want me to help? Help? Letitia looked at Dinah skeptically. The blonde maid was still shaking, her fingers fisting the coarse fabric of her maid's gown. Dinah looked so weak and feeble. Letitia feared she might collapse at any given moment. Her help did not seem something which could be relied upon. How would you be able to help me? I was just thinking, Dinah's face turned pink at this, and she dipped her head. You mean to put something in the master's tea? That is the plan, yes? Well then, if you served him that tea yourself, it might cause suspicion. Serving the master isn't your job. I'm the one who usually takes care of these things. So shouldn't this be my responsibility? I wouldn't want you to get in trouble. Letitia pondered this for a few moments. Certainly. It was true that it would arouse less suspicion if Dinah served Arthur his tea, as she always did. But Dinah was shaking so. Letitia feared she would spill the contents of the tea down her front before she was able to make it upstairs. There was also the very real possibility that Dinah's pale, waxen features might give away her plan. One only needed to look at her to realize that all was not well. Letitia could not let Dinah's nerves scupper her scheme, and neither did she want to send Dinah back into Arthur's study. Not after knowing all he was capable of. That was no way to protect her. No, it's fine. I will go. I am plain, so I have nothing to fear from his advances. Letty! You badonkadonkers! You bazoingas! It's so funny when she calls herself plain and then I go, but Letty, your badongas, your bagongas, you're humming. Awooga! It's ridiculous. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, Omni, I don't have a clipboard. Nice try. You have to do it manually. My goodness, what is the world coming to? Manual clipping? Goodness me. Certainly, Arthur Langley had never shown even a passing interest in what lay underneath Letitia's clothes, or between her thighs. In any event, I am several years your senior. Looking after you is my duty. You can rely on me. But if you're discovered, I won't be. When the police arrive, which they will, you can tell them that you don't know what happened. Don't tell them about our conversation or about the master's proclivities. That is all the help I require from you. But Letty... Dinah reached out once more, taking Letitia's upper arm between her fingers. Aren't you afraid? No, I'm not. You say that, but... Dinah's fingers tightened about Letitia's arm. Why, you're trembling, almost as much as I am. Letitia opened her mouth and closed it. Her voice trailed away, lost amidst the high-ceilinged hallway. Suddenly... Letitia felt her eyes sting. Tears began to bead upon her eyelashes, but she wiped them away angrily. Thank you for the clip, hon. Why does it say Rick Roll? Hang on. Let's look at these clips. Hamana, hamana, hamana. Awooga. No. It's better to have more clips. Trust me. It's better for the algorithm. Good job, guys. Good job, King. Good job. Oh my goodness. The more clips the better, as they say. Oh, where was I? God damn. You guys really threw me for a loop by doing that at the same fucking time. The Twitch names are ridiculous and I love it. They're very fucking good. Good job, gang. I'll put them... I will... Yes. I praised you. That's all someone in my... It's all my subjects truly need, really. A modicum of praise, and they survive on just that. I will put those clips in the Discord later for people to peruse. My God. Oh. Suddenly, Letitia felt her eyes sting. Tears began to bead upon her eyelashes, but she wiped them away angrily. Now was not the time for histrionics. Not when Genevieve was still crouched by the half-frozen lake in the moors, so paralyzed with fear of her own father she could not bring herself to step foot inside the house. If Letitia did not act soon, she might well die of exposure. That's a good fucking point. It's cold out there. She doesn't even have her gloves. Bring her gloves. And a scarf. And a coat. Make sure she's not getting cold. She should get Diana to bring her some warm stuff while she's out there evading the terrors. Genevieve was far more important than her silly fears, as was Dinah. This is actually like a very common human experience. Like when you're personally scared of something, you can't do it on your own for like your own selfish purposes. But when, like, as I like to say, the herd, when it threatens the herd, then it becomes more achievable mentally. It's interesting. It's a reflection of how socially coded humans are, I say. Genevieve and Dinah were Letitia's dear friends. Genevieve, in fact, was something more. She could not let them down. She would not. Letitia had always been a weak, spineless woman. Oh, honey, you've actually been getting quite a bit of a spine over time. Your exposure to Genevieve has been very good for you. Now it was time for her to show how strong she could really be. Maybe I am afraid, yes. I've never taken a man's life before. It's not something I thought I would ever do. Now, the first time you do it, it's very difficult, but the more you do it, it gets easier, I promise. But I know now that I must do it. To help women like you and Genevieve, I won't stand idly by while more innocent people are mistreated. Men like Arthur Langley can use their sex and their status to elevate themselves above the law. He will never be tried fairly in any mortal court of law, so I must make a stand. If I have to tarnish my own soul to do this, then so be it. It will be a worthwhile sacrifice, one I am fully prepared to make. There is a big reason why for a long time throughout history, a woman's most powerful weapon in her repertoire was her knowledge of poison and herbs. Why knowing about herbs is so quote-unquote feminine coded There is historical reasons why that is the case, and it's good to be aware of that, I say. So saying, Letitia shrugged Dinah's restraining hand of her. Then she turned on her heels and walked away. The sound of Letitia's shoes against the floor was low and solemn, almost like a funeral dirge. With every footstep, Letitia felt her heart harden within her chest. Dinah had been right. She was afraid. She was terrified, in fact. Now the worst of her shocked, disgusted anger had dissipated. Letitia felt very small and scared and alone, but still she refused to falter. She had long since made up her mind. Let's fucking go. Do it scared? It's fine to do things scared. Good job, Queen. Oh, it's happening. Letitia stood outside Arthur's study, a tray held in her hands. Upon that tray sat a single, unassuming cup of tea, which sat quiet and quite still and placid, as it gently exuded steam. The tea smelled good. It looked good too, but within its unbroken meniscus. Meniscus! That's a fun word. Let's look that up. Meniscus. Meniscus. Let's look up that fun little word we've just found. Meniscus. Am I saying it right, I wonder? I hope I am. It's the curved upper surface of a liquid in a tube. So it's the unbroken, surface of the liquid. I see. I see. How do I pronounce it again? I hope I'm saying it right. I'm usually good at that, but, you have to check. You can't let yourself assume that you're always right. That's when, well... Meniscus. I am right! Ha-ha! Once again, I am proven to be a genius. But within its unbroken meniscus, there lay a deadly secret. It was laced with poison! Dun, dun, dun! I swear, the energy drink is really getting to me today. Letitia had managed to avoid the cook's suspicion while brewing it, but whether she could coax Arthur into drinking it seemed a different matter. I do wonder though, I always get a bit silly when I read visual novels. I think it's a combination of the energy drink and the visual novel. Maybe I should drink energy drinks every time I read visual novels for the extra fun effect. To find out, she would first have to set foot in his chamber. But bringing her knuckles to rap upon his door was one step too far for the beleaguered governess. Now, beleaguered is a wonderful word. I love that word. Yes, I'm very energetic today, which is shocking considering I streamed like yesterday and the day before. Something about visual novels really brings it out in me. I don't know what to tell you. It's my roots, maybe. It's where I am at most at home with video games. It's my bread and butter. Letitia's shoulders shook, as did her fingers. The tea was in danger of spilling over the rim of the cup. Letitia had been standing at Arthur's door with the tea for at least 5 minutes. During those minutes, which felt like a century each, an alarming number of thoughts had filled her head. What was she to do? Letitia had brewed the tea, but now her courage had forsaken her. Letitia knew the moment she stepped into Arthur's study she would not be able to go back. She would hand the tea to Arthur and he would most likely accept it. There was really no reason for him not to. Who would suspect a plain woman like Letitia Reed? You know what to say, chat. You know what to say when she calls herself a plain woman. Say it with me. Awooga. Bazonga bonga donga. It's very funny to say the cartoony words about boobs. There's something about it that's just very fun. Thank you everyone. 3 cheers all around. Plain women did not commit murder. Now, historically they did quite a lot. I don't think anything that they had to do with looks. There's no real requirement to have a certain level of prettiness to commit murder. This is just her self-esteem attacking her once again. They darned socks, spun thread, or taught young girls younger and prettier and with more prospects than they had about dead kings and queens. Plain women did not have any aspirations. Oh, fucking hell. They did not dream of accruing wealth or pursuing romance, and they certainly did not dream of committing murder. Jesus H. Christ, woman. Arthur would accept the tea and he would drink every last drop, for Arthur was nothing if not polite. Outwardly so, at least. Then a cold sweat would break out upon his brow. He would clutch his chest with one hand and he would gasp for air as the poison worked its way through his veins. Oh, what a fun image. His muscles would strain, his limbs would ache, and, if Letitia had been thorough enough, which I hope she was, he will expire either face down upon his desk or lolling back against his chair. I'm hoping for face down on his desk personally, because it's quite messy looking. It's just very dramatic in a fun way, you know? Lolling back on the chest is like, it's not as cool. Letitia, in the 5 minutes she had been standing suffering, had considered both possibilities. Arthur would die. Letitia would see to that. Then perhaps a small part of Genevieve's pain could be lifted. It would not be erased, of course, because it was impossible to undo the past. But Letitia would see the wicked man who called himself Genevieve's father brought to justice. Would that be enough to console Genevieve? Would she ever truly smile again? Letitia was uncertain. She did know, however, that she intended to stay by Genevieve's side for as long as she could. Never again would she let anybody or anything else hurt her. Even if she was found guilty of poisoning Arthur, Letitia would accept her sentence. She had done it. Not out of malice, but out of love. Because she wished to protect her beloved. Who could fault her for that? She would spend her days in a prison cell alone, but ultimately unafraid of her fate. Because she would know she had done the right thing. Letitia would be a martyr, much like Joan of Arc. But unlike saintly Joan, Letitia rather hoped she would not be put to death. Shout out to Joan of Arc. I fucking love that woman. She was cool. And a bit like, she had problems, obviously, but I kind of just like, thought she was kind of cool. We should talk about her sometime. Murder was punishable by hanging, but there were exceptions. Letitia was sure if Genevieve testified in her favour, her sentence would be lessened. That was only if, however, she was ever formally accused. What a cute little emote, Dodo. Oh, what a cute little emote. Little lurk emote. That's okay. Happy lurking to you. Dinah knew of her plan, and so did Genevieve. Together, Letitia was sure they could concoct a fitting alibi for her. If they worked together, they could weather any storm. You love Joan of Arc, she's your patron saint, and yet you make French jokes. Well, see, the thing is, some of the jokes we make about the French are kind of deserved. They did one cool thing, and that was the guillotine. A lot of the other things they did sucked. A lot of the things the French have done fucking sucked, man. The guillotine was good. That's about it. Everything would be fine. It would be fine. She really wasn't doing anything wrong. That was what Letitia told herself, but still, she did it. Could she really take a man's life with her own two hands? It was all well and good telling herself that Arthur was a demon, but he still wore the skin of a human man. There's a Wikipedia article named Anti-French Sentiment Around the Globe. And it's deserved, honestly. You know what? I love Wikipedia, guys. It's run by little autistic, pedantic bitches, and I love it. It's messy, but it's better than AI. And, like, I can rely on it a lot throughout my life. It sources, like, almost everything to, like, real shit very directly at the bottom of the page. It's really good. And you can just, if you become, like, a real Wikipedia editor, you can make the articles better. Did you know that? You can also be a little pedantic bitch if you want to. Like, is the article about your favorite movie not good enough? Get in there, fix it. Write the whole fucking plot in there. Put everything like political theory and like philosophy that's included in the movie with sources. Do it. Live your dream. He would most likely groan and gasp and writhe in his death throes, like any mortal would, and Letitia would be powerless to help him. I tell you all to do this in good faith, knowing that you will do it properly, with sources and with facts. It's a fun time. It's actually very fun to be a little pedantic bitch sometimes, as long as you do it in the right circles. You got to do it right. It's very the world is very much willing to let you be pedantic if you're like an academic space about it, you know? That's the trick of it. That's the little trick of the world. I'll let you in on that secret, don't worry. The thought was a frightening one. Letitia had never seen a man die before. She did not want to make a habit of it. Now, why ever not? I find that there's a lot of men that I think it would be beneficial if they were not alive. This is not the website where I'm allowed to say which ones. And this is the website where I must say it would be in Minecraft. However, I hold these opinions, and I shall not be shy of them. Just, you know, fill in the blanks. Fear gripped her. It froze her heart and made her hands quiver. Perhaps she had taken things too far. She should turn while she still had the chance. She could retreat, pour the cup of lethal tea down the sink, and return once more to her dull and drab existence. Omni, it is so easy to be on my good side is the thing. It is really easy. People fail to do that all the time, and I don't know how they do that. It's really fucking easy to be like on my good side. I don't even need to like gel with someone's personality to be on their good side. I just need to like acknowledge that they're a human and they're not hurting people, and I'm like, whatever. I don't care, they can stay. It's so easy. You have to be really you have to like really not care about other humans and like the existence of the world. And like be like really horrific about things to make me not like you. People hate to hear this, but it's really easy to like not be hated. Just treat others with respect. I don't know what to tell you, babe. It's that simple. Letitia was no murderess. She was only a governess. Now don't sell yourself short, Han. We can all strive for promotion. That's a promotion in my book. She was a dull, unexceptional, thoroughly ordinary woman, but Genevieve did not seem to regard her thus. My goodness, she's doing it again. Genevieve had called her beautiful. Genevieve had been hurt beyond all measure, and Letitia had promised to protect her. And she could hardly go back on her word now. Not when she had come so very far. She loved Genevieve. If nobody else would protect her, then she would. Things one does for love. Letitia squared her shoulders. She suppressed the worst of her fear, which swelled within the pit of her stomach like the fumes from a gaseous swamp. Then she knocked. The sound of her knocking echoed about the hallway. To Letitia's anxious ears it seemed loud, almost deafening, and she had to glance about her to check she was quite alone. If any servants were to see her lingering here, by Arthur's door, then no alibi would be able to save her. Hi, rats! Welcome in. Do you want a time out for just for a little bit? Just for the fun of it? I'll give it to you if you like. I know how you like that. She would be sunk. Fortunately, the hall was just as deserted as always. There was nobody there to see Letitia, tea tray in hand, and there was nobody to hear Arthur's eventual reply. Enter. A chill crept down Letitia's spine. She wished she could run, but she knew she could not disobey a direct order from her master. Letitia pressed the tray to her hip, balancing it with one hand, and pushed open the door with the other. It was precarious work, and Letitia was unused to it, but she was able to enter Arthur's study without spilling a drop of her tea. She shut the door behind her, closing it with a decisive thud. Then turned. Arthur Langley sat at his desk as he had during Letitia's last visit. Yeah, Tushy, he's kind of attractive, but like in a cunty way. But like he's not like, you know, not like a cunty like we like cunties. It's rude, isn't it? I know. It's fucking annoying. Like, for what? And for what? His hair was neat as ever. Handsome Malfoy! Fucking hell! Yeah! Yeah, you got it! No, that is what he is, isn't it? Handsome Malfoy! God damn! Why didn't I see that sooner? It's because I don't think about Harry Potter much, that's my thing. God, he is Handsome Malfoy, isn't he? Can someone put him on, like, fucking... put him in some Slytherin propaganda poster or something? I would love that, thank you. I know I don't ask for, like, Harry Potter memes, but this would be kind of funny. Fuck the tea, I'm going for the throat. Hell yeah! Launching right over that desk and going for the throat. I love you, babe. Good job. We love the passion. Arthur Langley sat at his desk as he had during Letitia's last visit. His hair was neat as ever, his shirt without wrinkles, his shoulders straight. Arthur raised his head upon seeing Letitia and frowned, perplexed. Guys, I have to, like, admit something to you. You know when everyone was really into Harry Potter? Like, everyone? Like, it was everywhere? We were like kids and it was everywhere? I never understood it. I never understood the hype. I tried to read it to, like, fit in, as you do when you're a kid and you're kind of autistic. I didn't get it. I was that Lemmy clip, actually. I was like, I don't get it. Lemmy, it's a book that people enjoy. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's totally fair. I get it, but, like, I don't understand why it was like a cultural phenomenon, love, you know? Yeah, no, fuck J.K. Rowling. She's a piece of shit. Everyone in here, we love trans people. We love every single queer people under the sun. Every single, like, queer, like, type there is. We love you. Fuck J.K. Rowling. Fuck her, queerphobic bullshit, her transphobic bullshit, her racist bullshit. I hope the mold kills her. Man, don't clip that. That might get me in trouble. But also clip that, because I kind of went off. It's up to you, I guess. Anyway, this channel hates fascists, and we hate you for being a fascist. Oh, I love it when you send me things, Tushy. Thank you, babe. Arthur raised his head upon seeing Letitia and frowned, perplexed. Miss Reed? I did not expect to see you here. I thought you would be Pruitt to come with my lunch. I apologize, sir, that I am not she. Letitia offered Arthur a neat curtsy, as neat as she could make it, given with a tray, which seemed to amuse him. Well, I can see that. Arthur still seemed confused, but he was smiling now. He must not have suspected anything, though his eyes were drawn to the tray in Letitia's hands. And what do you have there, pray tell? Tea. The cook told me to send it up for you. She did she? And what is the occasion? The weather has been cold as of late, and the cook was worried you might catch a chill up here in your study. Pruitt was supposed to bring it, but as she was indisposed, I was asked to take it in her stead. Really now? That was very thoughtful of her, but it does make me wonder. Why were you in the kitchen and not in the schoolroom? As for that, Letitia thought she might as well recycle the same lie she had told the cook earlier, when she had intruded upon her inner sanctum. I felt under the weather myself. I woke with a cold and I couldn't stop trembling. I thought it best that I did not tutor Genevieve this morning, lest I infect her. Oh dear, Arthur tutted. No! Omni, no! Battery died after calling him Handsome Malfoy. You got cursed. Fuck, she got you. That's horrible. That's actually terrifying. That you got cursed for insulting someone by calling them a Malfoy. That's terrifying. I would never do that curse to someone. That's obscene. That's mean. That's horrific. Thank you for the hydrate. I've thought of some. I have some horrific curses that I've thought up in my day, but never anything that cruel. Never anything that menacing. My God. I had worried that your room was too cold. It gets so draughty here during the winter. I hope you feel better now, at least. Yes, sir. When my strength returned, I went to the kitchen. I meant to brew myself some herbal tea to soothe my throat, you see, but the cook beat me to it. I know, Tushy. Why aren't we killing him already? It's ridiculous. She had heard about my illness. I suppose Miss Ree told her. And she had a cup of tea waiting for me. She thrust it upon me and told me to drink as soon as possible and not to waste a single drop. She watched me the whole while too, like a nurse. Made me feel like such a small child. Ah, yes. It does sound like her. She's a very brusque woman. Now, brusque. That's a good fucking word. It means like, it's kind of like blunt and pushy, but like in a kind way. Like brusque is like a motherly person who's a mother who like comes into your room, sees you like bed rotting and says, get out of bed and go out in the sun, you'll feel better. And she's right. It's very funny. Like she will literally pull you out of bed and make you put clothes on and makes you sit outside and like watches you to make sure you don't sneak back inside. That's the sort of brusqueness that you would expect from a modern woman. It's very cute. That is one word for her, I suppose. Arthur chuckled at this and shook his head. I must apologize if she was too forceful in her well wishes. That is simply how she is. She means well by it, though. As many women like that do. They're very certain about how to take care of you, and usually they're right. Is the thing. You just don't want to admit it because they're so pushy. You know her well, I take it. Very. She used to work for my own father before he passed away, and Hatton became mine. She has not been here for as long as Rowena, Miss Ree rather, has, but I am fond of her all the same. Arthur smiled benignly. So after drinking down your tea, I take it that the cook sent you here with a beverage for me? That's right. As I was going back upstairs, the cook said I might as well make myself useful. I tried to protest. I know this isn't really my job. But she insisted. With each lie that spilled from her lips, the easier it all seemed. Letitia had almost managed to convince herself that this really was the truth. Letitia had never thought herself a convincing lie before. That was why she had left London. She had been unable to keep her feelings for Clara in check. Oh my God, Clara! I hope she's doing well. Letitia had always been hopelessly transparent. Everything she thought seemed to show up on her face like the neat printed text in a newspaper. She was now beginning to wonder, however, whether she was better at subterfuge than she thought. The thing about lying is it will only really, like with the same thing about how she's scared but she's doing it for someone else so she can do it, is things like this are a lot easier in general, even if you're not like good at them. It's a lot easier to do them when you're doing it for someone else. It's just the way it is. We unlocked a special skill to be able to do things when someone else desperately needs our help. She had grown accustomed to it after keeping so many secrets. Her heart was like a treasure trove filled with things she could not speak of. Her own relationship with Genevieve, chief among them. Now that Letitia thought back on it, her whole existence in Hatton had been based on nothing but lies. Letitia had lied to Lady Mortimer when she had left London, and she had lied to Arthur when she had sought out employment. It seemed only fitting somehow that her final interaction with Arthur Langley should be similarly steeped in deceit. She really had become a shameless woman. But if she was shameless, then Arthur was utterly contemptible. How dare he sit there in his comfortable study, poring over his old Latin books after all he had done to his daughter. If If Letitia had not seen Genevieve's tears, she would not have suspected Arthur was capable of such a thing. He seemed so temperate, mild-mannered, and kind. It was rare that he addressed Letitia with a smile upon his lips, and that duplicity enraged her. I can feel the bloodlust approaching in the chat. I feel like there's some very, very specific bloodlust occurring in the chat right now. Now Letitia felt more sure of herself than ever before. Yeah, his throat is covered is the thing. It's going to be a bit difficult to strangle him with all that stupid fabric in the way. But I think you could do it, Tushy. I believe in you. You're a strong woman. You could do it. Arthur could not have sat there smiling, indulging in childhood reminiscences, if he was not a demon. Oh, you'd pretend to seduce him, and then you would get him when his defenses were down? Honestly, respect. You'd have a knife? Genius. Just a quick slash across the throat and he's done. Right behind the back? Ooh, backstab. Classic backstab. You know, if the knife is poisoned, it'll be easier. Never underestimate the use of a good poison on the blade. There's a reason why it's brought up so much, poison knives and such. It's a good tool to have in your repertoire, as they say. Letitia approached Arthur's desk, no longer hesitant, and placed the cup of tea upon his desk. Here is your tea, sir. I apologize if it isn't as warm as it could be. I hope you enjoy it all the same. I'm sure I will. Thank you, Miss Reed, and please, thank the cook too for looking out for me. I will, sir. Letitia watched, clutching the tray to her chest as Arthur picked up the teacup. It was a delicate piece made of china, decorated with fronds of blue flowers. The palest white of the cup set off the greenish tea which rested within, made it look pure, somehow more delicious. Letitia hoped the tea tasted as good as it looked. She had added ample honey to disguise the bitter taste with wild carrot seeds, but she had been unable to sample it herself for obvious reasons. Oh my god! So I was hanging out in another person's chat recently. Our lovely Yvonne B. She's so nice. She was playing Final Fantasy XIV, and I was like, I had just gotten up, I was having my breakfast, and she was asking, like, because I just popped in to say hi, and she was asking, like, oh, what's you up to? What you doing? And I was like, yeah, I'm just waiting for the toast to pop. And she's like, oh, what are you going to have with the toast? And I said, I'm going to put honey on it. This little cunt that she was playing it with said, ew. Can you believe that? Honey on toast is a magical gift. What kind of moron? Anyway, so I went into her server and I posted honey to toast as like to fight back, as you do. Sorry, I just had that thought. No, Americans usually have jelly with toast. I mean, that's fine too, but what's wrong with honey? Why, ew. Weirdo. Honey is really good on toast. I will say is you want like a liquid honey, because otherwise it will just be impossible to spread. His wife was cheating. It reminded me of the spot of a very spiteful and petty noble. His wife was cheating on him with the king. He decided to acquire an STD to pass on to her, and then he would pass it on to the king without knowing. This story is more absurd. I'll try looking for it. That's fucking hilarious. I love that. What a bitchy move. Bad, but just absolute petty bitch. That's fucking hilarious. I love that. Oh, my wife is cheating on me. Let me get a sexually transmitted disease and give it to her, and then she gives it to the actual king as revenge. That's fucking amazing. Your honey looks a lot different. The honey I showed in Discord looks like butter. Oh. I don't know if you can get like New Zealand made honey. A lot of our honey is like local that we have. I don't know how much. I know that we export a lot of honey. Well, yeah, people said it looked like butter. I don't quite get it. Like, is yours like a lot like paler gold? Is it paler? Liquid sugar? My goodness. I could never. That's not honey. Well, that is honey. I will say it's not. I can't say it. Maybe it's just like the bees. Maybe it's the bees. Maybe it's the bees. That would explain it. Because there's different bee species all over the world. And maybe they do it differently. That's all. They would explain it, actually. Because every bee does it different. Sorry, we're getting sidetracked again. We are planning to finish the game today. What am I doing? What are flesh bees? Flesh bees. Flesh bees. Tell me about flesh bees in the Discord later. I want to know what flesh bees are. No. Put them in the Discord. I want to know. I'll see it after stream. You can't just say that and not send it to me. Silly. What if Arthur took one sip, then spat it out in disgust? Then her plans would be ruined. He had to drink all of it. Letitia's eyes bored into Arthur's. She willed him silently, fingers tightening about the tray to drink. There was a pause, during which Arthur blew upon the surface of the tea. It stirred, like ripples in a pond. He inhaled, savouring the scent of Letitia's herbal concoction. Then brought the cup up to his lips. Yeah, she's not good at being like... She's not really fucking sucks at subterfuge. She needs to leave the room and act like nothing's happened. To Letitia's immense relief, Arthur did not pause. Oh, he's a moron. We're lucky. We're lucky. He's a moron. Woohoo! He drank the tea down in one gulp, quite draining the cup, and set it back on its saucer. I always drink my tea when it's hot. The cook taught me that much when I was younger. She said it was a waste to do so otherwise. Arthur explained. Not that it needed explaining. With a gentle smile. He took a handkerchief from his breast pocket and wiped his lips. Then he looked at Letitia askance and said, Is there anything else, Miss Reed? Oh no, sir. Let me take your cup. You are very kind. Letitia moved forth to take the drained cup, her heart thudding all the while. Had she not used enough wild carrot? How much wild carrot was needed to dispatch of an adult man? Letitia did not know the precise measurements, never having tried to murder anybody before. What if she had miscalculated? What if the tea she had given Arthur induced little more than a series of stomach cramps? Letitia's own brow was beginning to sweat. Her fingers trembled as she retrieved the cup and she dropped it to the floor. The cup arced through the air, it hit the carpet, and then it shattered. The cup's white handle separated from the rest of it and skittered across the floor, half hidden beneath one of Arthur's many bookshelves. Oh my! Letitia took a step back, her eyes wide. I am sorry, sir. I really am sorry. I don't know what came over me. It's quite all right. We all make mistakes. There are dozens of cups just like this one in the kitchen already. I doubt this one will be missed. And the cook asks, you can say I knocked it over. I've done that in the past. But there are shards everywhere. I need to clean them up. Let me, please. You've done enough for me already, and cleaning really isn't part of your job description. Hi, Shale. Thank you for the lurk. We've just fed the terrible Lord of the Manor poison. And we're waiting for the effects to kick in. But sir, you said you were sick, didn't you? Arthur's blue eyes swept over Letitia. They were very gentle. Deceptively gentle, Letitia told herself, and creased in the corners with concern. I think you must still be a bit peaky. Your face is very white and you're trembling something terrible. You should let me take care of this. Letitia could not argue with that. The words seemed to have forsaken her. She stood still, clutching the tray to her chest like a lifeline, as Arthur rose to his feet. He walked over to the bookshelf where the broken handle had flown and bent to retrieve it. But it soon became clear that all was not well. Sweat was beginning to bead upon Arthur's brow. His breath escaped his lips in sharp, staccato gasps, and with a sigh, he staggered. Oh, look at that, chat. You get to see blood. It looked like the tea was working after all, and it was even more potent. than Letitia had expected. Rather than putting in too little poison, it seemed she had used too much. There was no harm in that, though, surely. Once a man had died, it was not possible to kill him again. Sir? Are you all right, sir? I'm fine. I think I'm fine. I just feel weak all of a sudden. It must be old age. I think I need to lie down. I need to... Arthur's voice trailed off, and coughing, he pressed a hand to his breast. His face was white as though made of wax, and his skin was dripping with sweat. Suddenly, fearful, Letitia rushed to Arthur's side, no longer sure whether she was only pretending to care or not. She knew what had happened, of course. She had attended for all of this, but she had not known that Arthur's grey, sagging skin and rattling breaths would shake her so. The first murder is always quite traumatic for the person doing the murdering. It's quite a shocking moment for everyone. No one can escape that, like, reality of that hits of knowing what it is like to murder someone once it happens. It's just impossible. It all sounded so real. It was too real. Miss Reed, Letitia. Arthur stared at Letitia's eyes, so eerily pale they seemed to be leaking their blue pigmentation. Was he crying? Did it hurt that badly? Letitia had hated him, but she had not wanted him to suffer like this. She had thought it would be quick. She had thought, what in the world did you put in that tea? I didn't. It was the cook. So you would still lie to me? Even now? But why? I don't understand. Letitia took Arthur's trembling hand her own. Perhaps he would have tried to bat it away, but he had not the strength. Instead, he only hissed. Letitia had thought Arthur a demon, but at that moment he did not look like one. He looked instead like a dying man, far older than his 40 years. Try as he might to cling to breath, he could not. Letitia swore as she watched she could see his soul escaping his body, transparent and gossamer as it was. For a few mad moments, Letitia wondered whether she could catch what remained of his life and cork it up in a bottle and keep it safe. But alas, it was too late. Sylvie. Oh, Sylvie. Arthur's eyes, now faint and unfocused, swiveled to look beyond Letitia's shoulder, at the woman preserved for all eternity above the fireplace. Sylvie had passed away over a year ago. Now, in only a matter of minutes, Arthur would join her. Time trickled to a slow crawl, during which Arthur's breathing abated. His chest rose and fell for the last time, then his eyes fell shut. Letitia felt for her pulse, her fingers large and clumsy about his wrists. But she could not feel one. The air inside Arthur's study was still and stagnant. Arthur's old books, all written in impenetrable Latin, watched on, cramped together on their shelves. As a historian, Arthur had indulged in dead men and dead languages. He lived and breathed death every day, cooped up within his study. Now, this study had become his tomb. He was dead. Letitia had done it. She had really done it. She had killed this foul man, but had he truly deserved it? Now Letitia was beginning to reconsider. Maybe she had been too hasty. This had all happened too quickly. She needed more time to think, but there was none. Arthur's corpse, oh God, he was a corpse, would soon begin to go cold, and she could hardly breathe life back into him. Letitia's herbs could cure headaches and tooth pain, but they could not revive a dead body. She was no Paracelsus. Paracelsus? Who is that? Paracelsus. 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 Ah! A Swiss physician and alchemist. What is he best known for? Pioneered the use of minerals and other chemicals in medicine. Oh, there's evidence he may have been into sex. Lovely. Let's go, I guess. She did not know the first thing about alchemy. Letitia was a plain young woman who had waded out too far into waters so deep she now feared she would drown. Some part of Letitia had thought perhaps it would be romantic to commit murder for the sake of love. But murder was still a crime. I don't know. It's kind of romantic. She had done something inexcusable and now... Excuse me, sir. May I come in? And now... Sir? And... Sir? I'm going to let myself in. I've brought you a lunch. I can leave it on your desk like always if you like, and then... There was the clicking of a lock. The opening of a door. Then the sound of footsteps. Letitia turned her head. There in the doorway stood Dinah, tray in hand. Letitia looked at Dinah, still knelt by Arthur's body, her fingers gripping his. Dinah looked back at Letitia, her eyes cold and hard, like two stones. A second passed, and then another. Then there came an almighty crash. The tray Dinah had been folding fell to the floor. That's a typo. The tray Dinah had been holding, yeah. Taking the plates and cups and cutlery with it, the food the cook had laboured over upended upon the carpeted floor. Dinah, wait, please. Letitia called out, but her voice was weak and her words did not reach Dinah. Dinah took a step back. Her eyes widened in vast, unmitigated horror. Then she began to scream. He's dead! The master is dead! The master's dead and the new governess isn't there with him. She must have done it. She killed him. She's a murderer. Wait, what? Dinah, what are you talking about? I thought we had an agreement. You said... Letitia cried out, stung by the injustice of it all, but her voice was soon drowned out by Dinah's blood-curdling shrieks. Soon there was a furor of footsteps. Dinah's cries were loud enough to raise the dead, and people were summoned to like spirits during a seance. The next to arrive was Miss Ree, white-faced and shaking. When she saw Arthur's body, she started, then cried, "Good God!" in a rasping tone that Letitia had never heard before. Next there was Ivy, still carrying an armful of laundry, though she soon dropped it when she saw what had happened to her master. There were other servants too, who Letitia had seen in passing, but whose name she was uncertain of. There was a red-headed girl with freckles who might have been a Prudence, and a squat girl with brown plaits Letitia thought was an Ava. The master's office was soon crowded with curious, gawping onlookers. There were more people than Letitia had seen during the months she had spent in Hatton, but none of their frightened, aghast, or incredulous expressions hurt as much as Genevieve's did. I think Tushy's about to crash out. She did just say she's about to crash out. So, Tushy, this is going to be like a big deal. This is going to like overturn everyone's opinions of what this whole story has been, and I'm really excited for it. Stand aside, everybody, please stand aside. I heard that my poor father, he couldn't be. Oh, but... The wall of servants quivered, breaking like an ocean wave as Genevieve pushed through them. Genevieve stared first at Letitia, who was still kneeling by Arthur's side, and then at her father, whose limp and lifeless hand Letitia was clutching. Genevieve looked between the two, her face ash and her eyes wide with a visceral horror that made Letitia's stomach clench. She had killed Arthur for Genevieve's sake. She'd wanted to protect her. This whole time she'd only ever wanted to make Genevieve happy. Why, then, was she staring at her like that? This was not how it should have been. Something had gone horribly, horribly wrong. Letitia felt she was encased beneath a layer of ice, much like the fish in the half-frozen lake. People were talking, screaming, crying, but she could not hear them. They inhabited a different world to her own. Her attention was focused solely upon Genevieve. She willed her with every fibre of her being to understand. I did this for you. I did this because I love you. Genevieve, alas, was looking at her as though she meant nothing to her. No, less than nothing. It was as though their love had never happened, and Genevieve had never once called her beautiful, and Letitia had been mistaken. She must have been. For if Genevieve truly loved her, she could not have looked at her like that. She could not have said, her voice shaking with murderous rage, "How could you? You're a monster." A monster? No, I only did this for your sake. Jenny, please. Don't talk to me. Don't even look at me. You're delusional. I despise you. You've murdered my father. It must have been you. There was nobody else who could have done it. There was nobody else who could have wanted to. No, I only did it for you. I did it because there was no reason. You're insane. I would never ever ask you to do something like this. My father was my only surviving family member, and you've taken him from me. You've ruined my life, and now I'll see to it that you're punished for your crimes. I'll tell the police everything. You'll be hanged for this. You'll see if you're not. I'll make you suffer just as you made my father suffer. I despise you, and when you die, I hope you burn for all eternity. Jenny. No, Jenny, please. Letitia tried to reach out to Genevieve, but to no avail. The young mistress, now to be Hatton's only owner, swayed unsteadily. All her violent, self-righteous rage abated as soon as it had come. Miss Langley, oh, my poor mistress. And with a soft cry, she fainted into Diana's waiting arms. How are we feeling, chat? Goodness me, that was even easier than I expected. Genevieve lay upon her bed, sprawled like a drowsy feline, one arm looped protectively about Dinah's middle. Both women were wearing little more than their chemises. The rest of their clothes lay upon the floor. Genevieve's crumpled carelessly, Dinah's neatly folded. It was dark beyond Genevieve's bedroom window, but the sky was cloudless and the moon hung vast and celestial in the sky. There was a biting wind, which rattled the window panes like insistent hands, but Genevieve paid it no heed. She was inside, her limbs curled up with those of her beloved, and the cold January wind could not reach her. She was warm, contented, safe, and above all else, loved. Genevieve and Dinah's love had endured for a good many years, ever since Dinah had first come to work in Hatton Manor at the tender age of 11. When Dinah had arrived at Hatton, fresh-faced and innocent, Genevieve herself had only just turned 10 years old. Genevieve had taken to Dinah instantly. Servant though she was, but perhaps this had been inevitable. Genevieve had rarely been afforded the opportunity to meet other little girls. I'm so sorry, Tushy. I am thriving on your absolute fury and anger. It's very funny to me. I'm sorry, hun. We'll explain it, don't worry. We'll get there. And Dinah was by far the closest to her in age of all the servants in Hatton. Dinah, to her, must have seemed a great novelty, a shiny new toy she could amuse herself with. I was waiting for this moment where, the chat just crashed out over this. The twist. The twist is what I've been so excited for this whole time. Miss Rhea had never cared to take in servants younger than 14. She thought children too clumsy to be trusted with housework. But Arthur had made an exception for Dinah. Like Abigail, Dinah had a wealth of brothers and sisters. Her family had been desperately poor, and they had pushed Dinah, the eldest daughter, and by far the prettiest, into service. Perhaps they had hoped she might ingratiate herself with one of Arthur's gentleman friends, or Arthur himself, though he had been happily married at the time. Arthur, alas, had never developed feelings for Dinah beyond that of fatherly affection, an affection born from pity he felt over her living situation, given she had grown up in abject poverty. Arthur had given Dinah a job, despite Miss Ree's protests, and he had done his best to ensure that the young Dinah was not saddled with jobs that were too taxing. Arthur's consideration had left Dinah well growing up, with more free time than her fellow servants, time that Genevieve had been only too happy to monopolize. Genevieve had helped Dinah polish her vowels and consonants, while Dinah had polished the banisters and floorboards, and sometimes, when Miss Rhea was not looking, the pair would steal out of the manor and explore the moors. They had played enthusiastic games of tag and hopscotch, jumped over fetid puddles, and stole scraps of food from the kitchen. When Miss Rhea found out about the escapades, however, she was livid. She said Dinah was abusing the master's kindness and that she ought to be sent back home. Oh, Tushy, you know there's not going to be any justice for Letitia. You know that. Wake up. Smell the roses. You know nothing good is going to happen to Letty. Why not? Because it was never about her, you dumb bitch. It was always about Jenny. It was never about her. She was never the focus. They never cared about her. She was a tool. I am saying it joyously because I was looking forward to this crash out. Someone was going to crash out just like this. And it was going to be so beautiful. She didn't do anything. She was just useful. That's it. Sometimes it's like that. I knew he should have never taken you in, an irate Miss Ree often had cause to exclaim. She murdered someone? And what of it? She did it because she thought, because Jenny used her and manipulated her. It was really funny. Yeah, it's really funny. The trumpets for the apocalypse will sound before you complete a single day's honest work. We haven't even read the author notes. You guys haven't even heard the author notes. I can't wait. These tirades would always invariably conclude with Miss Ree sending Dinah to the attic in disgrace without any dinner. Now we have to read the author notes. Ebi Hime always includes author notes with her novels. We have to read them. We have to. Dinah's stomach would growl incessantly all night, but this had not bothered her. She'd been quite accustomed to going hungry. Miss Ree's punishments had not hurt Dinah, but her censures had, for Dinah had never thought of herself as a hellion. As the oldest of her four sisters, she had been obliged to act as a surrogate mother for most of her life, despite her youth. Now she was free from her needy, wanting, grasping sisters. Dinah wanted to enjoy her life. She wanted to play games and have fun, like any other child her own age. She could not see why this was so very selfish. Dinah told Genevieve whenever Miss Ree scolded her, but Genevieve did not seem very concerned. Instead, she only laughed and said, "Oh, don't pay her any attention. She's just a silly old bat." But Genevieve, Dinah had demurred. She said the Art Master should never have taken me in. What if she gets rid of me? She won't. She can't. She doesn't run this house as much as she wishes she did, and she has no power to get rid of you. See, if I were reading this and then saw the illustration of them too, I would have uninstalled immediately. But it's just beginning, Tushy. We must know more. Don't you want to know how this all happened? But if she tells your father, then I'll tell him that you are my best friend, and if he gets rid of you, I'll scream and scream and scream until I'm sick. Oh, you're so silly, Tushy. You don't want to know? Why are you still here then? Jenny, do you really mean that? That I will scream? Oh, yes. You're pouting. You're pouting, but you're still here, Tushy. That's the difference. Oh my goodness, it's so good, isn't it? I love how my grin is definitely coming through my voice. Oh yes, I have a powerful set of lungs on me. Mama said that I could be an opera singer. No, I don't mean that part. I meant the bit about us being friends. Is that true? Of course. You're my very best friend, Dinah. You're the only person around here who will play with me. I like you too much to let you go. Miss Ree will never get rid of you. You'll see. Genevieve had spoken her reassurances with such sincerity, Dinah's worries soon evaporated. Why should she care what Miss Ree said when she had Genevieve? Genevieve was clever and beautiful and fun to be with, and Dinah's life was far more enjoyable with her in it. Dinah often wondered, in fact, as she lay in her rickety bed beneath the sloping attic eaves, how she had ever gotten along without Genevieve. You're not enjoying the story anymore? Oh, I'm sorry, Tushy. If it makes you feel better, I have a feeling that the next visual novel will be a lot cuter. Since it'll be the Megaversary. And I feel like it will just be very normal relationship bullshit. And it won't have toxic backstabbing crap. I have a feeling we'll be have a lot more fun there. Katawa Shoujo might be a bit upsetting. Justice for Litty? You could write fan fiction, actually, if you wanted to, about this and like give Letty a redemption arc. Well, not a redemption arc, like a happy ending with a cute girl in prison, if you like, and they could break out of prison together. Just a thought. Dinah's life had been drab and dull and grey, and she had not even realised it. Then she had met Genevieve, and she had finally learned what colour was. Guys, one thing about this prologue, we have to realise, Dinah's going through the same arc that Letty went through. She had a life that she did not enjoy, and then she escaped to Hatton away from the life, and suddenly everything was perfect because Genevieve was there. She's doing the same thing Letty was. It's just that she was there before Letty. Genevieve doesn't actually care about Diana. She's just more attached to her because she's been around longer. Think about it. Yeah. She had finally learned how to have fun. The thing is, Genevieve is a selfish, aristocratic woman. She has never been told no in a way that matters. Why would she start acting like no matters now? Everything works for her. The years had passed as they always did, and both Dinah and Genevieve matured. Their relationship matured too, from one of simple friendship to something far deeper. Dinah did not know what Genevieve was to her precisely. She did not think to question it, not even on the day of Genevieve's 15th birthday when she commanded Dinah to kiss her. Misunderstanding, Dinah had kissed Genevieve's hand like a knight-errant. But this had not pleased Genevieve. Scowling, Genevieve had said, her hands planted impetuously on her hips in a manner she must have learned from Miss Ree. What a half-hearted kiss that is! Surely you can do better. If you love me, you ought to prove it. Prove it? A bemused Dinah had asked. But how? By kissing me properly, as father kisses mother. That's how adults do it, and I want to know. I'm an adult now myself. We can't keep acting like children. Yes, Toshi, she said this to Letty. She's the exact same with every woman she tries. She's just bored. She's simply bored and thinks she's above everyone around her. Yep. Genevieve sucks, actually. Genevieve is a piece of shit. But Jenny, I'm not your father, Dinah had meekly replied. We're both women. So why should that matter? You do love me, don't you? Yes, Dinah had responded instantaneously without pausing to think. She did not need to, for she knew it was true. I love you, Jenny. I adore you. You are my very best friend. In all the world? In the whole world. I care about nobody else half as much as you. Then it should be fine if you kiss me. Don't you want to know how it feels? I've often wondered about it. About kissing me? Idiot. Who else would I kiss? Dinah had supposed at the time that Genevieve's order should have unnerved her, but it hadn't. Though she had resisted at first, that had been little more than a token. Dinah had not thought about kissing Genevieve before, but when Genevieve broached the subject, she found herself wondering why this was the case. Why did it matter that they were both women? Love was love regardless, and there was nobody Dinah loved more than Genevieve. Dinah's devotion to Genevieve bordered at times on slavish, but Dinah was happy to serve. Life with Genevieve was preferable to Dinah's whole existence in Beeston with her large, happy family and her responsibilities when there had never been enough to eat. And so Dinah and Genevieve shared their first kiss. It was by no means their last. Just as Dinah had thrown herself into all of Genevieve's childhood games, no matter how dangerous, she fast gave herself up to this new, rather more mature means of exploration. Dinah and Genevieve kissed whenever there was a chance. They kissed when they went on walks through the moors, hand in hand, and they kissed slowly and languidly in Genevieve's bedroom. Of course, they were careful to keep their newfound relationship a secret. Though Dinah herself saw no issue with what they were doing, she was aware that other people would. The more intense Genevieve and Dinah's relationship became behind closed doors. The more distant they began to seem before all others. When there was time, they would come together slowly, savouring every second together. During the day, however, their paths rarely crossed. Dinah's workload became more demanding the older she became, and Genevieve spent most of her time by her mother's bedside. Genevieve's mother had been unwell ever since Gareth's death, but in her final years she was almost catatonic. She rarely rose to change her clothes, and she would not eat unless Genevieve coaxed her. A grey, gloomy sort of pall settled upon Hatton during the close of Sylvie's tragic life. But it was not enough to dampen Genevieve's burgeoning love for Dinah. Their lives continued as such, unchanging for several years, until Sylvie had finally succumbed to her insurmountable grief. Left with no ailing mother to consume her days, Miss Reed began to petition Arthur. Genevieve needed some sort of occupation. It says no good to let that girl loiter around the house without a purpose all day, Miss Reed had said sharply in that tactless manner of hers. She needs to be employed in some meaningful manner. Perhaps you should think about getting her a governess. She's never had any formal education before, and she'll never be able to snag a husband the way she is now. That was how Letitia Reed came to Hatton, and after that all seemed to move very quickly and did. Indeed, Genevieve, who had not wanted a governess, soon thought of a way to deal with her. She plotted and schemed, and soon she had thought of a way to dispose not only of Letitia, but her father too. With him out of the way, Hatton will be mine. I will inherit all his riches and all his land. I will be a wealthy woman, and then nobody, not even that awful meddling Rowena, can tell me what to do. I'll never have to marry. We can stay together, Dinah, just you and I. Doesn't that sound grand? Oh, welcome in, Aki. You just missed Tushy's amazing crash out over the horrific twist. Tushy has gone through the hells today. It's beautiful. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, she still is. She's just gone a bit quiet. I can sense it though. I can sense the broiling fury in Tushy's atmosphere, you know? It had sounded so very grand to Dinah, who didn't have half the imagination Genevieve did, that she did not believe it could truly work. What if Letitia suspected something was amiss? What if she indulged in gossip with the other maids? What then should things fall apart? Dinah shared her anxieties with her Genevieve, who had been quick as per usual to reassure her. Genevieve had kissed Dinah's eyelashes, then her cheeks, then her lips, and laughed. Don't worry. This plan will work. My governess is so gullible. You wouldn't think her a full-grown adult. She is so stunted, repressed too. I'd almost feel sorry for her if she weren't so pathetic. Genevieve had been right too, as she was about so many things. Her plan did work. It worked so well, in fact, it was almost frightening. There had been so many opportunities for things to go awry. If Letitia had spoken to any of the other servants about Arthur, she would have fast have learned of her employer's impeccable character. But she had squandered this opportunity. Remember, she never talked to anyone else at all about the situation except Genevieve and Dinah. No one else. In fact, she barely talked to the other servants at all. And you want to know why? No, he wasn't. He was just a normal dude who was kind of bad at being a dad because he was still grieving his dead wife and his dead son. And he would shut himself up about it in his room. She never talked to any of the servants, and if you paid attention to how she would talk about it, you could tell that she didn't talk to the other servants because they didn't talk like an educated person. She only talked to Dinah because she sounded proper. Yeah, justice for Arthur. The character assassination they did to him is crazy. Genevieve was an accomplished actress. She had played Letitia magnificently, and now her part was done. She was to be discarded. It's a very good story, isn't it? It's very fucked up and horrible, but really good with it, you know? There was nothing to come between Genevieve and Dinah now. Oh, what play does it remind you of, Omni? I'm curious. They had won. What a foolish woman she was. Chronicles of an Announced Death? Ooh, I need to make a note of that. I'm curious now. Sorry, I'm making a note, gang. Pausing my reading to make a note about another thing. For somebody with such low self-esteem, it was awfully presumptuous of her to think that I might truly love her. The Litty villain arc would actually hit so hard, Tushy, you're right. Genevieve laughed cruelly, as she had during her childhood, when she had thrown rocks at wild birds. Can you believe that she really thought my father capable of sleeping with his servants? It took him 2 months of courting before he worked up the courage to propose to Mother. A weak-willed man like him could never be so brazen. Genevieve's laughter became louder still and more jubilant. Yeah, Genevieve's always sucked, is the thing. Do you think she knows that she was had? Maybe she still thinks, even now, she festers in some dank prison cell, that I love her. Wouldn't that be hilarious? To you, maybe. Dinah thought back to Letitia, pale-faced and wide-eyed, crouching upon the floor of Arthur's study, the dead man's hand clutched in hers. She had thought looked like a lost little girl, almost ghost-like. She'll go to trial for this. She might even hang. And? Genevieve dug her fingernails into Dinah's bare upper arm, which made her gasp. Why do you care what becomes of Letitia? She brought the past upon herself. It's what she deserves, being so naive. Besides, she isn't an innocent victim. Don't forget, dear Dinah, that she killed my father. She's a murderess. Yes, I suppose she is. Listen to how easily Genevieve manipulates Dinah into tossing any thought of Letty aside. Dinah isn't safe with her either. She's just the target, as it were. Dinah sighed. I'm sorry, Jenny. I should be more appreciative of your efforts. You did all of this for my sake, didn't you? Yours and mine, my love. Genevieve pressed a kiss against Dinah's cheek. Now we can be together. We'll be very rich women indeed, and with money we shall be untouchable. I'll be quite certain of that. Do you really mean that? But can we truly stay with one another? Of course we can if you desire it. We can always be together. Jenny. Oh, Jenny. Dinah felt her breath catch in her chest. She still had lingering regrets, both about Letitia and Arthur. Dinah was not so mercenary as Genevieve, and she could not laugh at their fates. Dinah hoped, however, with the passage of time, she might be able to forget about them. She had no feelings of ill will towards either Letitia or Arthur. She had helped Genevieve dispose of them, because it was convenient for her. If Arthur had lived, Genevieve would have been forced to marry at some point or another. As a wealthy woman, the heiress to a grand estate, such a future had seemed inevitable. Then, with Genevieve's impending marriage, she and Dinah would have been forcefully parted. Genevieve and Dinah's love, which had endured for almost a decade, would have crumbled into ashes as though it had never meant anything. The love of two women, no matter how strong, would always cleave when contested with a man's momentary lust. Dinah's love for Genevieve would be viewed as expendable by the rest of the world, but Dinah did not regard it as such. She adored Genevieve so intensely she would have followed her into the bowels of hell itself if she had to. The thoughts of living in a world without her beloved by her side were excruciating, and so, spurred on by her own desperate feelings, Dinah had agreed to aid Genevieve in her plot. Dinah had led Letitia to her doom just as surely as Genevieve herself had. She had told such monstrous lies, it was a wonder her tongue had not turned coal-black and dropped off. Perhaps Dinah had done something monstrous, but she had her own reasons. She had acted out of love, not hate. She had done it because she wanted to be with Genevieve. You see the same reasoning of Dinah? Dinah has the same reasoning for her actions that Letty did. Isn't that interesting? Just a thought. It was unfortunate for Letitia, yes, that she'd been deceived so thoroughly. But as Genevieve said, it had been her own fault. Sorry, Dodo, you got so wrapped up in the story you forgot the time. Oh, the VOD will be up, Dodo, so you can enjoy it on the YouTube channel. Hang on. So if you miss anything. And thank you for telling me to give Hina a treat, Dino. I will do that once we finish reading, because I feel we are near the end. Oh, hey, I'm doing good. I've made my chat just like have a mental breakdown over the story I chose to read to them. So I'm doing pretty good, honestly. Honestly, I'm doing amazing. That's a dream for a chat. That's a dream for myself, is what I really hope to give to a chat every day of my life. I hope to cause like crash outs to my chat many times. Yeah, and Tushy, you are meeting my goals so splendidly. That's not the word. Splendidly. Mum, I don't like this bedtime story. Well, it's too dang bad. It's the only story I've got. Now, tuck yourself in bed and listen. Oh. I'm glad you could stop by too, Dino. I'm glad you could stop by during one of our most emotional moments with the chat. She should not have been so quick to trust. My design is so cute. Thank you. I made it myself. The model is not made by myself. The model, no. The model, I didn't make the model, but the design, I made the design. Yeah. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of my own design. Yeah, I did cook. I fucking cooked, and I will cook again. You can't stop me. Every day I be cooking. It's what I do. It was not Dinah's fault that Letitia was a fool. And neither did she intend to spend the rest of her life bemoaning on the woman's mistake. I roasted? Yes, I roasted. I have done all the cooking. I have cooked a fucking full course, you could say. A full course meal. Cooked, roasted, and baked? Yes, thank you. By the way, Dino, there's like this fun little pinned message that you might be curious about. I have a June subathon. And one of the goals for the June subathon, if we hit it, is that you guys get to see my Halloween model early. It's not like a spooky model. It's not spooky Halloween, it's cute Halloween. But like, you know, you might want to show up for the week-long event and see if you can get us there. There's some other really fun goals, but if you love the design, I also made this design with my model mama. And I think you will really enjoy it. If we don't get to that goal, you will be seeing it in October. I will use it for like the whole of October. And then on and off for spooky streams. But yeah, if we hit the goal early, if we hit that goal, then I will plan to play do a spooky game stream wearing the model before Halloween. It'll be really fun. Anyway, what ill had Dinah ever done save falling in love? She could see no reason to ever apologize for that. Again, the same reasoning as Letty. Genevieve has manipulated both of these women, quite frankly. Jenny is the singular villain of the story. Dinah has just been exposed to her ever since she was fucking 11. And she is so cooked in the brain by constant Genevieve exposure that she has no way of questioning it at all. Unless she had no self-esteem, so she didn't question it either. If Genevieve had even like a measure of backbone, they would have been like messed. Their plan wouldn't have worked. If she had any sense, common sense at all, to ask a servant or two. Done so. Plan spoiled. I think that's the story. We did it, gang! That's our first ever visual novel completed on stream for the channel and everything, and I'm really happy that it was this one. Chat, you don't know how much I want to be known for covering visual novels. Like, it is actually like what I want to be known for immensely. And I really do hope to cover like a wide variety of beautiful works. This felt like a really good first one for my personal vibes, but I will be covering stuff that isn't so horrifically toxic. This is toxic Yuri, 100% toxic Yuri. If the Yuri makes you want to say these women should not be doing what they're doing, this is actually evil, I would say that is toxic Yuri, yes. It's translated in Chinese. You want to burn the whole house down? See, that's how you know it's toxic Yuri. Let's look at the author notes. Ebihime has this, if toxic, why hot? That is another factor of toxic Yuri. It's usually hot too. Ebihime has like a very fun characteristic of herself where she always writes notes with her visual novels discussing what she's just made, and I think that's really cool. I really enjoy that because it shows like how she approached the like story. And so I'd like to go over it with you all. Hello everyone, and thank you for reading Salome's Kiss. I hope you enjoyed this story, though as has been the case with my last few releases, I have to wonder just how enjoyable the story really is. She's currently in a bit of a toxic vibe with her writing right now, and I think that's very funny because that is what I want from her. But she does do some cute stuff too. I think in terms of the setting and the general storyline, Salome bears a few similarities to one of my earlier visual novels, Blackberry Honey. Salome, like Blackberry, is a historical romance that takes place in Victorian England, largely inside a stately home, which features a lesbian couple. There's a fair bit of sad lesbian pining in both stories, and I think the leads are rather similar. Letitia and Lorena both have L names, brown hair and eyes, and they both are rather well endowed. Ahem. She knew what she was doing. While Salome and Blackberry invite a lot of comparisons, I think this is where the similarities begin and end. Blackberry has some drama, but in comparison to Salome, it's more of a light-hearted romp, and ultimately Blackberry has a happy ending. Salome's Kiss, on the other hand, well, if you're reading these notes, you already know how the story ends. That's another thing, you can't read the notes until you finish the story, which I think is really interesting. She locks them until you finish the story. Very good detail. When working on Salome, it was my intention to make a story steeped in the popular tropes of gothic romance. Hence the story takes place in an isolated manor house which creaks and groans. The main character, Letitia, is very anxious and innocent. She even wears a white nightgown to prove it. And there's a decent amount of talk about death and decay and other such unsavory things. Blackberry Honey contains a few gothic romance elements. There are a few scenes in Blackberry, for instance, where Lorena is walking through Bly, the manor house in which she works at night, and at one point mistakes the young mistress of the house, Constance, for a ghost. But I didn't think I pushed it far enough. I wanted to take things in an even darker direction and build up a story with a suitably grim, oppressive atmosphere. Even during the sweeter scenes in Salome between Letitia and Genevieve, I wanted to convey the sense that something is amiss. Sense that something isn't quite right, as can be seen given how often Genevieve snaps at the servants or gleefully talks about bashing in eels with rocks. Genevieve was fashioned in the same manner as some of my other cheerful, confident, irreverent love interests. She bears a fewer similarities to Blackberry's Tahua, who's similarly self-confident. But I wanted Genevieve to have a bit of more bite to her, for there's been more genuine darkness lurking underneath her amusing exterior. Genevieve might appear entertaining at a surface level, but as is revealed in the end, she's utterly without remorse. Cold and calculating, Genevieve is determined to do all it takes to achieve her goals, and she doesn't care about hurting other people. She's so very devoid of founder feelings, I think she might be a sociopath. She might just be one of the most morally bankrupt characters I've ever written. Now that's quite an accomplishment. I think Genevieve puts both Belle from Sweetest Monster and Yule from All Ashes and Illusions to shame. I knew I wanted Salome's Kiss to be a melodramatic, sensationalist gothic story, so I was determined from the get-go to give the story an unhappy ending. Given the sort of character Genevieve is, it seemed inevitable. Poor Letitia might have been better off staying with Clara. As an avid reader of gothic romance horror stories myself, both of older texts and more contemporary texts in the genre, the influences behind Salome's Kiss are numerous. One of my main inspirations was Wackenhurst, by Michelle Paver, an incredibly atmospheric gothic horror story which is set in an isolated manor house in England surrounded by marshes. I loved the airy, isolated setting of Wackenhurst so much that after reading it I was assailed with story ideas for a tale of my own in a similar setting, which later became Salome's Kiss. Wackenhurst? Hurst, you say the T. I took more than a little inspiration from Wackenhurst, including the plot threads which hinge around Arthur Langley, and I'd advise people to go check it out. I adored reading it so much I think I got through the whole novel in 2 days. Let me write it down in chat, since there is a lot of words on screen right now. Since you seem a bit curious about it, Omni. There you go. Another inspiration behind Salome's Kiss would be Sarah Waters' novel Affinity. Sarah Waters is particularly well known for writing historical, largely Victorian lesbian fiction, which is very much my thing. I've read all of her books to date. Affinity is my favourite of Waters' lesbian stories, which features a shy and softly spoken female lead. Now, who does that remind you of? Who finds herself in the thrall of a beautiful, enigmatic spirit medium. I won't talk about Affinity's plot too much for fear of spoiling it, but the ending was incredibly impactful and genuinely painful. After finishing the book, I had to put it down and stare at the ceiling for a while, which is very rare for me given I am a cold, loveless husk of a person who rarely gets moved by the plights of fictional characters. Affinity really did leave an impact, though, to such a degree I wanted to write a story with a similarly dour ending. Yet another inspiration behind Salome's Kiss would be Laura Purcell's Bone China, or to be more specific, the first 50 pages or so of it. The introductory scenes of Bone China feature a young lady's maid who grows so incredibly attached to her dear mistress. She begins to envy her husband for spending time with her, and later the mistress's baby when she falls pregnant. I was hoping this would develop into entertainingly deranged yandere lesbian territory, but alas, Laura Purcell doesn't commit to it. Laura, no yandere? Sad. I decided to want to create a similar character, though, who finds herself yearning desperately over a woman of a higher social status than she believes she cannot have. Thus, Letitia was born. She was so close? Yes, you're right. Yandere. It could have been so good to be I'm always saying that we need more yandere lesbian stories. Always saying this. Always saying this. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm always saying this. I took bits and pieces of inspiration for a few other places while writing Salome's Kiss, such as Anne Bronte's Agnes Grey, Wilkie Collins' The Woman in White, and surprisingly enough, Frances Hodgson Burnett's The Secret Garden. Oh, that's a very famous one actually. I was using The Secret Garden as a reference to try and get some of the phonetic Yorkshire accents a few of the characters in Salome used down. Oh, that makes sense. Especially the coachman, he had quite an interesting. She would definitely need help with that. But Wackenhurst, Affinity, and the first 50 pages of Bone China were the biggest inspirations. I really like how she quite directly talks about inspirations. It's really cool for me, because it's nice knowing where authors, like any artist, pulls from, you know? We all learn from someone. We all have our inspirations for what we create. Nothing comes out of nowhere. It's just nice. After writing Salome's Kiss, I suppose I'm fairly happy with how it turned out, though I can't help but feel it's a bit too generically gothic. It feels more of a genre piece, taking cues from a lot of other works in the medium rather than something wholly original. If you've read a lot of gothic romance before, I suppose Salome's Kiss will seem a bit samey. Beyond the lesbian romance is not offering much new to the genre, and Sarah Waters already has historical lesbian romance fiction covered. I hope you found the story diverting nonetheless, and I would implore you to read both Wackenhurst and Affinity. These are both exceedingly good novels written by exceedingly talented authors, and I owe them a huge debt. Eppy kisses. Oh. What a fantastic story! My goodness! What an incredible story! Thank you for joining me for this, my first visual novel that I've finished with the channel. We have completed 2 milestones now. Our first general game that we've finished on the channel. That was The Mountain King. Something The Mountain King. It was a longer title, so I do forget. Under the Mountain King. Bramble the Mountain King. That's the one. We finished that one. That was our first proper game. I hate to use that terminology, but you know what I mean. And this is our first visual novel that finished the channel. If you're curious about both of those playthroughs, I have got them on my YouTube channel. I have a few VODs that I need to put up yet from the streams yesterday and the day before, and also today. No? What do you mean no, Tushy? You protest the story? Write fan fiction about it, hun. That's how you protest these things. Reading skills so good, very comfy. I'm glad. I want to be known for visual novels, and I want that, as I said, I want that to be my bread and butter. So I'm glad that it suits me, very much so. But I would also like to discuss what we're reading next. Let's do that now while I have you all. Yeah, I love when you read but this damn story. You cannot be too surprised that I chose this, my dear. It has to be a bit unshocking. Very silicoted. Thank you, Han. You just... Okay. Let me pull up the, there's 2 pages for this. Hang on. Oh, there's a soundtrack bundle. That's right. So, let me just... let me just, hide that. No, that's not what I want to hide. Boop-a-doo. That's not it. That's the one. So this is what we're covering next on stream. It's Yuri Omegaverse. A boss ex-employee Omegaverse Yuri romance where the physical comes before the emotional. That's the tagline. Very funny tagline. It's by a company that is very passionate about creating interesting Yuri stories. They previously did one, which I also need to read. We should read that one too, guys. Let's go to their developer page. Oshiraibu waifus over husbandos. I want to marry you. These simple words set in motion a Yuri game of cat and mouse. Akari wants a husbando. Ren wants Akari as her waifu. Are these two ever going to end up together? It's a slapstick Yuri comedy. So we'll read that at some point, I imagine. But the Omegaverse Yuri. That's what we're reading on stream next. And I won't lie, I've read some Omegaverse fanfiction in my time. It's very fun. But there's not much Yuri of it out there, so I'm real excited to see how this goes. And I trust this team to write well. The designs are very cute. Hang on, let me full screen this for you guys. Oh no, it's not full screen. There we go. Look at those designs, so cute. This is our little Omega. This is our cute little Omega. Adorable. And there's her alpha, her boss. And they're gonna have some they're gonna be some like heat suppressant issues that's gonna make them have to do stuff. Missed the 1 year anniversary of meeting you by a full month. Ooh. So she's just trying to do her fucking job, and then her like hormones do things, you know? Oh yeah, I follow the very important Steam curator group, Hella Yuri. It does help me find things. But here's the other thing, chat. Where is that? No. Open new window. Anyway, here we go. This is what I will be reading off stream because I'm gonna be reading the horny. It's Cuddle with Shoujo. I'm gonna be like reading the uncensored version, babes. Cuddle with Shoujo is a very interesting Bishoujo style visual novel set in a high school for disabled children located somewhere in modern Japan. Our protagonist thought he was like able-bodied, but then he turns out he has a congenital heart defect, so he had to move to a new school that would care about his needs. He's kind of gloomy about that, which I get. He has to find new friends and maybe some romance. It does contain art material. So what we're doing is I'm recording this off stream, and then I'm getting my favorite man, Yuki the rat, our little rat prince, to censor things for you. So we've got a lot of cute girls, and we're going to do all the roots because I'm that kind of person. I'm that kind of bitch, quite frankly. And I'm very excited to have more visual novels on my plate. Yeah, as I say, I want this to be what I'm known for. God, I don't have anything else that I can do today, but I'm glad I have discussed what we're planning to do next with you all. Yeah, porn. Yeah, we are going to censor it with these cute little art censor things I got done a while back of Hine the cat. She's going to be like, yeah, porn is very much my niche. Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that, Tushy. I appreciate you, babe. Porn is a niche I am happy to fulfill in my coverage of art. But yeah, you mean the visual novels? Yes, that too. That too, babe. Don't worry. Yeah, a while back I had, like, before I even started streaming, God, when I was still designing things and still making things work, I reached out to an artist and was like, hey, can you make these cute little pictures of my cat with transparent backgrounds that I can slap on the porn moments so I can put my horny visual novels on YouTube? And she was like, hell yeah, send me your first one when you make it. So I can finally send her one of them. When we get to starting on this and do our first upload, I can send her one, and that'll be really cool. I'm excited because we've got two little pictures of Hina we can use. One of her sitting on an adorable little pillow and one of her playing with a ball. And she got the colours on Hina down so good that it's just ridiculous how good they look. Thank you all for joining me. I might give Hina that treat once we close out stream, but we need to raid someone, don't we? We need to raid someone. Is there anyone live? Oh, there's Mamo. Mamo's playing Minecraft. I like Mamo. I don't think you know Mamo, but I like her. She's cute. She is a lot less saucy than I am. Although she is wearing a bikini top today. Hello. She is a lot more safe for work generally than I am. So behave. You can tell her how I was really mean to your favorite character, though, Tushy. You can tell her how mean I was to your heart with my story. Feel free to get angry about it and, like, tell her all about it. Live your dream, babe. Vent to someone else, you know. But let's get her. We don't have a raid message. That's still on my, like, pipeline of things. But she hasn't been up for, like, even a minute. We can get her. She's not going to end stream anytime soon. She is playing Minecraft. Apparently it's the beach episode. Oh, wait, no, she is 18 plus. So we can swear and stuff, at least. We know that much. We don't really have a raid message. I don't know how to do raid messages. This is one of the things that my creativity is not great at. Maybe one day. But yeah, feel free to raid her. Do a fun attack on her. Shock her, terrify her, you know the drill. And thank you all for joining me today. I appreciate it a lot. Go hang out with the cute Minecraft babe with the bikini top.